Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ladies Power Lunch. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have with me here in the Zoom studios somebody that I am so proud to be able to call a dear friend. No, she's a new friend, but she's very dear. And she is here to share with us a little bit about her story, her beacon story from our new upcoming anthology. It's a Ladies Power Lunch Anthology. It's being published by Greenheart Living Press, which is Elizabeth Hill's company, and it is called Be the Beacon. Welcome, Jess. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
So, we have this beautiful book. It's called Be the Beacon, and it's a collection of stories from women. Many of them, I think all of them, are members of our Ladies Power Lunch community here. I think sometimes, you know how they say familiarity breeds contempt. I think sometimes because the women in our amazing Ladies Power Lunch group are our friends, we forget how amazing they are because they're our friends. But
Mm.
let's face it, the women who have stepped up to the plate, the women who have decided that they want to be a part of this upcoming book, this upcoming anthology, this upcoming gift to the world, they are all, every last one of them, outstanding beacons of light in the world, shining bright. And the thing that they do on a daily basis, it's not just a job, it's their passion. It's the way that they have found is their way for lighting the path, both for themselves and for others. So this is really an outstanding book. We're 10 days away from launch, guys. 10 days. We are almost there. We're 10 days away from launch. So I'm going to be over the next few days just reminding you guys to be a part of the launch and to continue to help us get the word out about our upcoming book. But in addition to launching, we are also having our upcoming Ladies Power Lunch Fall Summit, and our fall summit is going to be featuring almost all of the authors from our book, Grow Smarter, from our book, Be the Beacon. And of course, I'll be there. I'm author of Grow Smarter. So I'm really looking forward to y'all joining us for Grow Smarter, Be the Beacon. It's going to be on October 18th and 19th. It's going to be a virtual event, but it's going to be live. And it's going to be live in a way that is different from what you've become accustomed to for hopping onto your usual Zoom meetings. So I want you to be really, really prepared to have 2 full days of outstanding fun. Because if we're going to do it, it's going to be fun, right, Jess? But
Yeah.
also fun, but also great opportunities for hands on personal development and business growth. We want to make sure that when you leave on Tuesday and you go back to work Wednesday morning, that you are equipped with the tools that you're going to need to be the best, brightest beacon for 2022. Am I right?
Amen.
Amen. So I invite you all, if you haven't as yet gotten your ticket, what are you waiting for? And also go to growsmarternotharder.com and get your ticket there. And Jess is going to drop the link in the chat afterwards so that you can get your ticket if you haven't gotten it as yet. So Jess, welcome. I'd love for you to please share with everybody who you are and what's this big bright light that you are shining in the world? What is it that you do?
Thank you. So many people know me as the founder of Alchemy Learning Solutions. And my company is one that works with purpose-driven entrepreneurs to help them take their wisdom and knowledge from years, from decades of the work that they've been doing to serve others and transform it into an online course, membership, or program so that they can expand their reach, they can step into the fullest version of who they are, and they can bring in passive revenue. So it's win-win-win. So that's my business, but you asked about the light that I'm shining, and really over the past couple of years, it's gelled for me that my greatest dragon that I've had to slay in my heroine's journey is one of worthiness, and really understanding where worthiness comes from and how I can encourage and develop my own sense of value, and enoughness. And so that's what what's behind my chapter in the book, and it's what's behind what I'll be sharing at the summit. It's really this firm belief I have now that we are all inherently worthy just as we are. So that's what I'm trying to share and like beam out into the world.
So, what does being a beacon mean to you? I mean, we have this book, it has this, what I think is this amazing title. I'm probably a little bit biased, but I really do think it's such an amazing title.
Mm,
Be the beacon. What does
mm.
that mean to you?
That's a great question. I hope I'm not repeating what other people have
I
answered.
don't care what other people have said. I want to know what you have to say.
Well, the word beacon, I think of like a homing beacon, right? So it's like putting out a signal or a sound so that we can find our way home. Um, that's the first thought I had. And so for me, it's the message that I'm putting out to help people find their way back is we are all worthy. Come on back. Like you are enough. You can shine. You can put yourself out there and be vulnerable. And if people aren't picking up what you're putting down, it doesn't matter because you are worthy. So that's like that repetitive message because homing beacons, they don't change it up. They're just like meh, meh, meh. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm like beating you over the head, like you are worthy. Damn it.
You are worthy. I love that so much. I
Yeah.
really, really think that is the consistency of the message is important, and also the steadfastness of the message too, because you're not running all over the place trying to get everybody to tune in to what it is that you're sharing. You're just sharing.
Mhm.
You're just sharing and
Yeah.
giving people the opportunity to decide to tune in if that is what is meaningful to them.
Yeah.
I love
And
that.
the thing about it for me is that I'm not shouting this from the rooftops or solely because I want other people to see their own worth. It's also that I'm still needing to remind myself that this is true. And so, the more I share it with others, the more I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I should take my own medicine. Um, yeah.
I enjoy that a lot. We have been talking, of course, with many of the other authors, and one of the central themes that keeps coming up is that the things that you've been through in your life, they are, as Akanke said earlier today, they're prescriptive. They sort of help others to see the way through
Mm,
because you've been through it or you're going
mm,
through it. So in a way, your mistakes or your missteps or your things that didn't go really, really well are actually amazing because they've turned you, of course, into the person that you are today. But they're also the things that other people can be attracted to and can learn from. I think that's so important. How does this influence the way that you do your work?
mm. Well, I was talking with Elizabeth on the Green Heart Living podcast about how many of the course creators that work with me have been through whatever it is that they're now guiding people on how to get through. So, I work with a lot of coaches, and many coaches find their path by going through some kind of trial, some kind of suffering. And my chapter is called Trial by Fire. And so, that's not the only way that we can grow and develop. I'm sure of that, but it is a powerful way that tempers us in the flames. And so, um, what was your question? Oh, you're muted, huh?
I know. I think it's really important to tie it all back
Oh, my
to
work.
what it is that you do in the world,
Thank you.
your work.
Oh, goodness. It's Friday.
It's
Um,
Friday.
yes. So that's how it's related to my work, in that the people that are working with me to create their courses are beacons themselves. And so, I'm the beacon for them, reminding them that what they have to say is of value and that there are people out there that need them. And then what they have to say is, they are the beacon for all the people that they're going to serve. So, yeah, it's my whole business is about beaconing.
Yep. And, I like that you are sharing that beacons are not just all one size. Beacons come in all different size, shapes. They're all very, very different from each other. And your beacon came about, you got lit when you went through the fire, pretty
Mm.
much. In our book, we've broken it down into four different types of beacons. A beacon that's a spark, the beacon that went through the fire, the beacon that is finding home and hearth, and then the beacon that's the lighthouse. So it's really a wonderful way to explore this idea of being a beacon, but it also allows us all to realize that being a beacon is everyone. No one is excluded. No one at all. Why did you decide, Jess, to be a part of this Be the Beacon project? Why did the idea of being an author on Be the Beacon speak to you?
Mm. So it's a funny story. I actually was doing a coffee chat with Annie Garland, who's also an author on the book. And I was describing to her about the work that I do. And the way that I articulated it in that moment was that I shine a light. I hold up a lantern for other women entrepreneurs, mostly, who want to step into a bigger version of themselves and really put themselves out there and grow their business through online courses. And I show them, I light the path and show them that it's possible and that their vision can become real and they don't have to do it by themselves. And so she heard that and she was like, "You're in the Beacon book, right? Like, you got to be in this book." And I was like, "Oh, well, yeah, I'd heard about the book, but no, I'm not in the book." And she's like, "Did you just hear yourself?" I was like, "Yeah, I did. I did. My gut is to, my human design type is a manifesting generator." And so it felt in that moment like she was inviting me into the book. And my gut was like, yes. So that's how I ended up in the book. And it was last minute, I was probably one of the last authors to sign
I
on.
think
But
you were.
yeah, I was like, you know what? We're gonna do it. It feels right.
Wonderful. Well, I am sure that everyone will agree with me that having you as part of the book has made it a richer book. And this whole experience of the Grow Smarter, Be the Beacon Summit, where we're going to dive deeply into each of the chapters, is going to be richer just for you being a part of it. So thank you so much for saying yes to that. Can you tell us now? Don't give it all away, okay? Because really, really want people to be excited to go read about your story in the book, Gross. In the book, Be the Beacon, and to hear your story when you come on the stage for Grow Smarter, Be the Beacon on October 18th and 19th. But can you just give us a little snippet of what your story is about in our book, Be the Beacon?
Yeah. So my story starts off in 2020 when my life kind of crumbled. And that's why it's called Trial by Fire. Everything kind of got burned down. And then in the rubble and in the ashes, I rebuilt. And so it talks about the 5 power practices that I used to rebuild and to come out stronger and to found my business, because my business came out of that destruction.
Wow. We all know the story of the phoenix and how she rises from the ashes and she's stronger and better than she's ever been before. And oh my, I just got a little bit of goosebumps there on that. But to have you have this conversation about how things don't always go exactly the way that we expect. They really don't always go the way we think
Mhm.
they're going to. And yet, there is this beacon of hope that is there for all of us. And you stand as a shining example of that. If people are out there who are feeling hesitant, who are feeling like, I don't even know if I'm a beacon, beaconhood is for other people, not for me. What would your advice be to them? What would you say to them?
Mm. I would say that it's impossible for you not to be a beacon, um, because we are all watching each other every day. And I mean, I get so many messages from people as I put myself out there more and more who are watching that I never would have suspected were watching, and say things like, oh my gosh, I'm so inspired by whatever you just shared. And so I would say there are more people out there watching you than you know and being inspired by you. So own it.
Own it. I think I think that's absolutely right. You know, you're a beacon whether you accept it or not, but there is power in owning it. And so I really invite us all to look at our lives, look at our businesses, look at the things that we're doing and recognize that even on our worst days, we are a bright shining example for everybody else around us. Isn't that just the truth?
Absolutely.
What are some of the do's and don'ts that you would suggest for us as we go along our path to being the best beacon that we can be?
Mm. I would say do be compassionate with yourself, because being a beacon does not mean that you need to be perfect all the time. In fact, I think being a beacon means that you share when you're not perfect, when you mess it all up, and when you're feeling like crushed and tender. And part of being a beacon is just bringing your authentic self wherever you are to the moment, so that other people can see, oh, like I don't have to be perfect all the time either. Like she loves herself anyway. Even in, and she's not just like on the gram, like taking the
I'm so glad
selfies.
that you raised that point because
Mhm,
one of the things that is, I think, so damaging and so hurtful for all of us is that we're looking at everybody else's highlight reel and we're using those things to make ourselves not feel good.
mhm,
We're using those things to keep our energy at a low ebb.
mhm,
And this being the beacon is a totally different idea. It flips the idea of the Instagram on its head. It
mhm,
says that, you know what, I'm a beacon. And even on my bad days,
mhm,
you're going to see that I am loving me. And it's
mhm,
okay for me to share from this more vulnerable place. It's okay for me
mhm.
to be very authentic
Yeah.
without
Like
the
look at
filters.
Simone Biles, and
Yes.
what we can learn from her this season.
Hmm.
The other thing I want to share is just this past month in September, I was down at a retreat with my cohort of other women entrepreneurs being coached. And it was the 20th of the month. And I said to them, like, ladies, I'm not going to make my revenue goal for this quarter. There's no way. And they were like, what are you talking about? There's 10 days left in the month. I was like, but no, you don't understand. Like it's $13,000 I need to come up with in 10 days. That's impossible. And they were like, I don't think so. What are we gonna do? And so they reflected back to me what was possible and my value, and re-inspired me. And in those last 10 days of the month, I had the biggest month I've ever had in my business.
That's outstanding. And
Yeah.
I,
So they were the
I
light in the dark for me.
that's such an outstanding story. And what I enjoy about that story is that you're a beacon and you're being supported by other beacons
Yes.
in order to shine your light in the best possible way. Because not only were you able to make your quarter goal, but you were also able to serve some other people who were out there losing sleep at night because they needed the service that you provide.
Mhm.
And if you hadn't been mobilized, if you hadn't been energized by your beacons,
Mhm.
they would have missed out on the beauty that is your program.
Mm.
Isn't that just a wonderful thing?
Yeah. Well,
That's
now I'm just
amazing.
envisioning like all the beacons all around, all the little bright lights, twinkling.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
Because we think of
because
like the lone lighthouse, and that's not it. It's
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 not
more
at
like the
all,
star-filled sky.
because let me just say, one beacon or one lighthouse does not the world make, right?
Mhm.
Every little piece of coastline needs its own beacon. And the beacon here shining, illuminating the beacon over here. Somebody said that it reminds them of how people send smoke signals or how people send light signals to get the message across from one end to the next. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Another one of our members who I love so much, Linda Albright, she mentioned to me the other day a new word that I hadn't even known before. And I thought I knew all the words because I was like the SAT queen, right? Everybody knows that.
Mhm.
You could tell that there was a certain level of nerdiness there. But she introduced me to the idea of heterarchy. So we're all very familiar with, the principle of hierarchy. But what about when everybody is supporting everybody else? And it's like
Mm.
a network of just
Mm.
support and amazing lifting of everybody and energy rising. Can you imagine all these points of light all over the world illuminating, shining brighter because my beacon's making your beacon brighter? Can you imagine how amazing the
Beautiful.
world's going to be? This is not a maybe I'll do it. This is something that we've got to do. We've got to do this to raise the vibration of the planet one beacon at a time.
Count me in.
Well, you are already in because you're one of our amazing authors and speakers who's going to be part of our book, Be the Beacon, and part of our summit, Grow Smarter, Be the Beacon. All of this launches, all of this kicks off in 10 days. You've seen the power of what 10 days can do in your own business. And now I am inviting everybody to use this next 10 days to not only get your ticket for Grow Smarter, Be the Beacon, but also invite your friends to come be a part of this movement because together we're going to make this world an even more amazing place to be. Any final words for us, Jess? How can people get in touch with you when we're all done with this? How can they reach out to you? Because I know they're going to want to.
Yeah, you bet. They can reach me on my website at alchemylearningsolutions.com or on Facebook and Instagram at Alchemy Learning Solutions. And also, I will be hosting a free mastermind conversation at the end of the month on the 27th for aspiring course creators who have been feeling a little stuck or haven't been getting into motion on their courses to come and get re-inspired.
So, who's an aspiring course creator? Who is this person?
Anybody who has content, knowledge, wisdom that someone else might want.
So, maybe I might have a whole bunch of articles, or
Mhm.
I might have made a series of posts, or maybe I did a challenge or something like
Mhm.
that. And you're
Yeah.
saying that you can take this content
Mhm.
and you can turn this into a course that not only can be making money for me while I'm sleeping, but can also provide people an opportunity to tap into my information in a way that will help them to grow their beacon. Is that
Exactly.
what you're really saying?
That's what I'm saying.
I love it. I love it. And tell us again, how can we connect with you, Jess?
Alchemylearningsolutions.com.
Mhm.
And I do want to say, if anyone is watching and they're not feeling very beacony and they're not sure, they haven't bought their ticket yet, I would say take this as your opportunity, your like 10 days left, as Dr. Davia said, to come and get poured into, to get re-inspired, because we all need that from our community. And I think that's the biggest takeaway that I'm excited about coming from the summit. So give that gift to yourself.
Oh, Jess, that is such a generous gift that we can all give to ourselves. And when you were talking about getting yourself poured into, I
Mhm.
could really feel that. And I know because I've been to our summits, we've been doing summits for 8 years now. And every single time I leave summit, so refreshed and so poured into. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jess. Really, this has been such a pleasant conversation. Really excited for next 10 days, all the fun that we're going to have over the next 10 days just in the planning process. And then for the amazingness that's going to be our summit on October 18th and 19th. I hope y'all can make it. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet, why haven't you gotten your ticket yet? Go to growsmarternotharder.com and you can get your ticket there. And you can always connect with all the Ladies Power Lunch offerings through that website, growsmarternotharder.com. Thank you, Jess. Thanks to everybody who's watching with us over on Facebook. If you're watching on our podcast or if you're catching the replay, we are so glad that you're able to make it. And we'll see you guys on the next show. Bye, everybody.